you struggling to make your first 100K or next? Are you pretending you're successful but barely getting by? Are you tired of comparing yourself to millionaires and billionaires who make it look so easy? Welcome to First 100K, the #1 entrepreneur voice in America. I talk about the important things that no one else is talking about, like how to make your first $100,000, because I believe this is where 90% of entrepreneurs get stuck. And I tackle the mental game of entrepreneurship that we all secretly struggle with but won't admit. My guests are successful entrepreneurs who share their mistakes, their #1 fears, their daily habits, and their superpowers that push them over the 100K mark. I'm your host, your coach, your friend, Joseph Warren. I'm also a 10-time failed entrepreneur and the owner of 2 co-working spaces here in Tampa, Florida. This show was created for you, the entrepreneur who's pushing to break through the elusive 100K milestone. Wherever you are in your business, you're just 100K away. Do you wish growing a business was easier? Are you feeling frustrated that it's taking so long to make your first 100K? I used to feel the same way until I discovered the one thing that was missing. It wasn't more marketing tips or strategies. It wasn't reading more business books, and it wasn't learning more stuff. I could show you what's holding you back and blocking your success if you like. Typical side effects include higher income, peace of mind, loving relationships, real connection with God, freedom from addictions, purpose, fulfillment, and a brand new lifestyle. It all starts by scheduling a spiritual clarity call with me to get clarity on what you want right now in your life and to see if we want to work together. Visit josephwarren.net/possibilities to learn more. That's josephwarren.net/possibilities. Today, my featured guest is Steve Gordon, and you can find him at unstoppableceo.net. That's unstoppableceo.net. Steve Gordon is a best-selling author, the founder of The Unstoppable CEO, and the host of the Unstoppable CEO podcast. He's a fellow podcaster like me. He's written over 400 articles on marketing for service businesses. Through his firm, he's helped service business entrepreneurs create leveraged marketing systems so they can spend less time on business development and more time on what matters most. Let me explain that and break that down real quickly because I was on his website just recently. He creates a done-for-you marketing system to really just pull leads in and then close those clients for you so that they're ready to go. To me, every service business is dying and starving for that opportunity. When Steve was just 28 years old, he became the CEO of an engineering consulting firm, but he knew nothing about marketing or selling services. 12 years later, after growing that firm's revenue by 10 times, Steve started his second business, consulting with businesses across 30 industries, including manufacturing, professional services, construction, and consulting, to design, sales, marketing, referral systems, high-ticket, high-trust products and services. There's a lot going on there. He's done it all. He's here to share what he's learned throughout his journey to help you attract your ideal clients, and that's very important, Startup Nation. Who is your target client? And achieve the business goals you've been dreaming of. Welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you for being here, and go ahead and fill in some of the gaps in that quick intro, would you?
Yeah, Joseph, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and share a little bit with your audience today. Well, I think the most interesting thing about how I started at a fairly young age with a fairly large role that I probably wasn't really prepared for. But that was in a business that was already up and running, and we had cash flow and we had clients, and I didn't realize how easy I had it. And then I went and decided, well, I'd gotten to a point where there wasn't a lot of growth left in that business, and I wanted to go do something else. And so I decided to start, our current firm, and that was a startup from scratch, bootstrapping, and I quickly learned that that's a completely different animal than what I had been through before. And so So that's probably the piece of that background that isn't mentioned there.
I think that's an important insight because I know I've worked with business partners that came out of corporate America. My COO, for example, in one of my startups, and for him to make the transition into the entrepreneurial lifestyle was daunting. And it really took a lot of coaching to really get him acclimated. Because to your point, it's completely different. Like one in big corporate America, you got proven business models and structures and foundations and sales processes all running, things that are already proven they work. And now you're really just scaling at that point. But with a startup, like there is nothing proven. You have to go out and prove it. And there's so much risk in it. And it's, do or die. What shows up for you in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned the word proven there. That's an important word. A lot of folks starting out don't, I think, put enough emphasis on the fact that they have an unproven model. They've proven it in their own head, right?
But that's not reality.
No, we have to go out and prove it in the marketplace. And at the end of the day, the marketplace is the only thing that matters. So getting folks over that hump is really difficult.
All right. So right out the gate, Startup Nation, Steve is dropping some wisdom, boom, explosions on you that don't believe your own ego. When your ego thinks it's all figured out and your system's proven and everything like that, and it's just going to work because you think it's going to work and you believe it's going to work, you got to match that up with reality. Go out and test it with people. People are the ultimate reality, right? They will give you the feedback, whether you like it or not. Ask for the feedback. All right, let's get into the show here. Steve, typically I ask about, revenue right in the beginning. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to push that back just a little bit. So the reason why I invited Steve on the show, Startup Nation, is because Steve's got this done for you marketing sales type system. And Steve, not as a pitch or a promo or anything like that, but really just walk us through what you do for clients and why you developed that. Like, what was the problem you saw service businesses having where you said, oh crap, I can really fill this gap for them? Go ahead.
Sure. Well, so in the first 8 years of this business, we were in the advice giving business. So I would work with primarily with service business owners, and we would work with them to develop a marketing strategy, and we would coach them through the execution of that. And the way that we did that is we'd meet with them quarterly. They'd come to Orlando, come to a one-day workshop. We'd kind of lay out their plan for the next quarter, and then they'd go execute it. And one of the things that we noticed was that while they were all very, very happy with the strategies that they had, they would go away and get really frustrated because these business owners, we had people in there who were insurance professionals, or, we had an environmental consultant, we had folks in real estate, all these different professionals who were really, really good at what they did, but they weren't professional marketers, and they didn't have a team to go back to of professional marketers who could execute that stuff for them. And so they'd come back and they wouldn't have made much progress. And, and while they'd get results, we were laying out some fairly sophisticated strategies, and they were getting frustrated because they couldn't get it done. So I was on a call one day with one of our longtime clients, and he was frustrated that he was trying to write an article and just was completely stuck on it. And I said, well, if we just did that for you, and we got it done in a couple of days, would that help? And he's like, that'd be amazing. So, market research, we talked about going and proving it out in the marketplace. That was experiment number one, and we got a result. So we did that for him, quickly created a package for him to upgrade into, and then started taking that and having that same conversation with all of our other clients. And pretty quickly, they all said that would be the best thing ever. And so
now,
here we
let
are
me
with
pause
a
you.
done for you service.
Let me pause you right there. So Startup Nation, did you catch what Steve did there? Right? He saw a frustration his client was having. Your clients are having frustrations right now. Like, you want to go look and see what's going on with them. Like, if they're implementing your advice, if you're a consultancy, or they're implementing your product, what types of problems are they having when they're executing, when they're implementing? There is opportunities there. There are gold nugget opportunities for you to draw more revenue or upsells. And that's exactly what Steve, did there with his client, is saying, hey, it looks like you're frustrated. Would you like us to implement this for you and just get it done so you don't have to think about it? Client's like, yes, absolutely. And he goes, okay. And then goes and creates a new package, a higher package, and the client's all about it. And then turns out not just that client, but most of his clients are having that exact same problem. There's a brand new revenue stream for his business. So Startup Nation, what revenue stream are you missing out on right now? Start taking a look in your business right now. What's that thing where your client is struggling? What's that new revenue opportunity? All right, Steve, that's really awesome. So let's talk about attracting clients when you're a service-based business. Most of us suck at it. Let's just be flat about it, okay? We just suck at it. So what have you seen to be the top ways, and pick three. What are the top three ways that a service business that you've seen are the most effective with all your clients across the spectrum for attracting clients into their business?
Number one would be relationships. Number two would be relationships. And number three would be relationships.
Wait. I'm guessing what number four would be.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's funny. There are virtually infinite numbers of ways to market your business right now. Mm-hmm. When I came into the business world in 1994, we didn't have near the breadth of marketing options that we have now. And it seems like there's some new outlet where you can market yourself coming online every quarter. And that creates an awful lot of confusion in businesses. So they feel like, well, I got to be posting on LinkedIn and I need to do a Facebook group and I got to do this thing over here. I was just on a call with a guy who's likely going to become a client with us this week. And he was so twisted up and turned around in his head about all the different things that he needed to do. And when I listened to all of them, they're all great, but he was, one man and an assistant. And the thought that he was going to do the 5 or 8 different marketing tactics that he was trying to do and do them well enough to get any kind of result anytime soon is just a farce. So, we believe strongly, particularly for service businesses, when you are the product, that you've got to build relationships that will lead to business and lead to business relatively quickly and without a lot of effort on your part. And that generally means creating relationships with both your clients and with people who are what we would call influencers or centers of influence, referral partners, whatever you want to call them, who know the prospects that need your help. And if you want to extrapolate that idea out, Google and Facebook are great referral partners when you pay them. They'll send people that they know to you who have an interest in what you're offering based on an advertisement. But they're going to send someone that they've got a pretty thin relationship with. But, if I go to somebody that I've known, that I have a relationship with, and in our case, with our podcast, we use that to create a lot of those relationships. So I'll go interview people that I really want to have a relationship with. And I'll give them value first by promoting their business through our podcast. We'll get to talk and we'll get to know each other. By the end of the call, we've built some rapport. Now it becomes a little bit easier to deepen that down the road and create the opportunity for referred business. And
how do you transition that podcast, Steve, into a sales call?
Well, you don't want to just bait and switch at the end.
Right.
That wouldn't be very authentic, would it?
Right.
So I believe that all value is created in the future of your prospect or in the future of that referral partner, if it's a partner. That's the only place you can show up and create value for them. And so you've got to understand where they're going, what their bigger future is, how they describe it, how they envision it. And so that at the end of most of our podcast interviews and what we coach our clients to do when we're producing a podcast for them is to have a wrap-up conversation and ask the person, I learned a lot about you and your business during the interview, but where are you headed? What are your goals over the next 3 years? And what would it take for you to feel real happy with the progress that you're going to make? And listen and take notes, because they're going to tell you exactly how you can plug in and add value to them. And so usually what I will do is I'll say to that person, I interview people on this podcast all the time. I've interviewed over 120 people. I've got a pretty good Rolodex at this point. And let me go away for a couple of days. Let me think about who might be able to help you in my network get to that goal. And let me think of some ideas, because I'll probably come up with some pretty good ideas that could help you as well. You want to get together in 3 or 4 days, and I'll share what I've come up with. And they always go, oh yeah, that'd be great, because you're offering for free to help them achieve their goal. And so I come back then with connections that I think will help them. And I come back with ideas that will help them. And sometimes one of those ideas is, you'd really benefit if we did this piece of your marketing for you, because it's going to support getting to that goal in this way. And so it's not at that point even transitioning to a sales conversation. You're just plugging in, showing them how they can get to their goal easier. You're adding value.
I really like the way you do that. It's different than most, because you're finding you're really getting clear on what is their goals, and then you're fitting into that, their future goals, rather than Startup Nation. You and I, sometimes we get caught up on our goals, our sales goals for the month, and we want the prospective client to fit into our agenda. And I think Steve is really showing us a better way to do it. Really be all about the client. I also like that you put, hey, let me go away for a few days, so that you don't have to scramble and come up with like the solution to their problems on the spot. That can occur as very salesy. So that really removes that out of the conversation, so that it's very authentic, very genuine, very human. Fantastic. And then how do you turn it into referrals? Like how do you get those referrals, or your prospective clients to start referring? And Steve, I'll be, transparent here myself. I have had opportunities in different businesses where clients have remarked to me how freaking much they loved the product, how much it was helping them win, whatever the service I was providing, but they wouldn't refer business to me. Mm-hmm. And when I finally, I would ask them, what's holding you back? It's like, honestly, I kind of want it all for myself. And I really don't like some people would say that, and I would hear it over and over again. I didn't know if it was the truth. I didn't know what it was. What shows up for you in that? Because I know I wouldn't be the only person that's had that, where they're providing a great product and value and service for a client, but they're not getting the referrals. What might be the cause of that?
Well, first of all, if you're expecting to be spontaneously referred, it'll happen, but it's not going to happen at the frequency and at the timing that you hope that it will. Referrals need to be approached just like any other lead generation medium. Okay. Just like you would advertising, just like you would email marketing, just like you would podcasting. You need to have a plan for it. And you need to execute that plan. And you can't just hope that your unpaid and untrained sales force, the folks we call our clients, are going to show up and do the work for you, because they're not going to do it. And if they do it, they will do it poorly generally. I mean, the hardest thing in business is to identify a prospect and then get that prospect to walk into a sales meeting, right? That's the hardest activity in any business. And to think that your clients are going to be able to do that successfully is, I think, a stretch.
Okay, got it. So to clarify, what I'm hearing you say is that Startup Nation, Steve's telling us that we want to not leave it up to the client to spontaneously think about you and your business and go, oh yeah, let me refer this client to you, et cetera, because they're just busy. There's too much noise, too much distractions in their own life. The chances are low. It may happen. It happens to me every now and then, to your point. Yeah. But Steve is saying rather be proactive about it, create a referral system. Where there's a system in place in your business to ask for the referral, and not just ask for the referral from your client, but show them how to give a good referral. Is that about right, Steve?
Well, we go a little bit deeper than that. You want to talk about the system? You want to go into detail?
Let's do it for 3 minutes. Let's see what she can do.
So what we do is, what we do ourselves and with our clients is we create a book for them. And it's usually a relatively short book, but we use that book to compile the problem that their ideal client faces, what the solutions are, what the consequences of not dealing with that problem are. So it's really an embedded sales message in this short book. And we use that to be able to go to our clients and have what we call the value conversation. And the value conversation sounds something like this. Hey, Joseph, I'm on a mission to transform the way that service business owners generate referrals so that they can grow their businesses more effectively, so that they can get past this barrier of the first 100K and actually get to multiples of that. And I've taken the time to write down all of my wisdom about referrals in this book. And I'd love to brainstorm with you who you know that needs a copy of this. And I'd like to send it to them as a gift from you. What do you say?
Yeah, that's attractive right there, because I'm going to add value to all those people's lives based on what you just said.
Yeah, I'm going to make you a hero to people that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, I'm going to plant my message and I'm going to get introduced to them, and I'm going to have the ability to follow up with them. And I'm going to do that in a pretty human and kind way so that they're not feeling like they're chased by some guy in a plaid jacket. But we find that will quickly take your referrals from one or two here and there to every time you have that conversation, you'll generate 5, 10, 20, 50. And now you're creating a scaled lead generation system. And for most service businesses, if you got between 10 and 50 leads a month, you'd be just knocking it out of the park. Most only get a few a month.
Yeah, especially based on the ticket amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so instead of, putting money in ads and funnels and all that kind of stuff, which don't necessarily work great for these types of businesses, this is a way that's very accessible to you and doesn't require you to continue to put money into the Facebook slot machine.
All right. Thank you for running us through that. I love it. And, I know Startup Nation, you didn't get to see the video, but Steve was holding up the book. What was the title of that book there, Steve?
This book is Unstoppable Referrals.
10x your referrals in half the effort.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's attractive. Like, people are going to say, I want that. So I really get that. All right. So Steve, let's shift here. We got only a few minutes left. When we're having great conversation with deep diving, time just flies, right? So give us your top 3 tips or strategies that you use to make your first $100,000 in this business, this service type business. So working with service businesses.
So, gosh, you're taking me back because it's been about 10 years.
Right.
So I think the first and most important thing when I started, because it was just me at the beginning, I got really focused on who I wanted to do business with. And I created a message specifically for them. And there wasn't any magic to how I picked it, but I got really focused. And then I focused on one method to get in front of those people. And we were using direct mail, and we'd created a report that we were giving away for free in the direct mail. And I went and hired on Craigslist some stay-at-home moms to pay them. I paid them by the piece to stuff the envelopes and lick the stamps and get that stuff in the mail. I mean, we were scrappy. And we just kept executing that, and it would create a lead, and I'd follow up with that lead. And that focus really got the business going and got us over that 100K mark.
Okay, guys, so let's break that down real quick, make sure I got it. So number 1, Startup Nation, get focused on who you want to do business with. Number 2, get focused on what's the message to them, right? Like what are they struggling with? How can you help them? And then number 3, focus on one method to get in front of those people. Is that about right, Steve? Anything you want to add?
No, right, that's it. Doesn't have to be direct mail. Doesn't have to be any particular method, but just pick one.
And I think that's huge. And you point out something very few entrepreneurs point out on my show, which is focus on one method or one product, right? Start with one. Startup Nation, start with one. Don't start with 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 different offerings. It confuses people. It overwhelms them. Start with one offering. I know when I started my spiritual coaching business, I just had one method, right? It's like, jump on a spiritual clarity call with me, no charge. Let's talk about what you want in your life and if we want to work together. Like, that was my pitch. And people go, oh, well, that's clear. It's simple. It's boom. And they would jump into that hoop. And then I say, hey, I have a 12-week spiritual boot camp. It's my only product. You want in? Yeah. Here's how I can help you do this or whatever. And people say yes to it. So focus on one, Startup Nation. It's the key to everything in the beginning. All right, Steve, let's get into the money topic, and then we got to wrap up the show. My audience loves to know context. How much gross revenue did your business do in the past 12 months, approximately?
We're in the 400 to 500,000 range.
Congratulations. That's really awesome. And what are you on track for? What are you guys tracking? What are you going to do in the next 12 months? What are your goals there?
Well, we've been at this level for a couple of years now as we retooled the business. I said before we were kind of in the advice business and we transitioned to Done For You.
Is this where you want to stay, or do you want to scale it?
We're going to scale it. So I've now over the last year built the team. We've built all the processes. Now we can really scale it and grow it. And, so we'll track towards the 7-figure mark over the next 12 months.
That's awesome. And I'm sure you have a Done For You process ready to go to scale your business, right?
Yeah. And
probably created in-house.
It's really interesting. Everybody says stay away from the Done For You stuff. It's a lot of work, but when it's done for you, they don't need me. When it was advice, they wanted the advice from me. So we've got a great team and they're executing it, and I can do what I'm great at, and the team does all the rest.
I really like that because it frees you up to scale the business, focus on growth. Yeah, rather than just day-to-day execution. All right, Steve, let's get into my favorite part of the show. Startup Nation, we're listening to Steve Gordon. You can find him at unstoppableceo.net. That's unstoppableceo.net. Steve, welcome to the Hustle Round. This is where I'm going to ask you 10 quick fire questions. You'll have about 3 seconds to answer each. It's just for fun. Don't overthink it. Are you ready, sir?
Let's go.
All right, Steve, what's your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
Freedom.
What's your least favorite thing?
All the works.
All the work. Wouldn't it be nice if it was easier, Startup Nation? Steve, what are you most afraid of?
Probably failing.
Yeah, I get that. What did you spend way too much time doing your first year in your business?
Marketing.
Marketing.
Believe it or not.
And that's why you need a guy like me. Exactly. That's funny. What secret fear do you have about people?
I don't like being in small groups. I like big groups.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. What do you wish you had learned sooner in your business?
How to sell.
How to sell, Startup Nation. Get over the hump. You got to do it. What is a new habit you want to form?
The new habit we're forming right now is, and this is both me and my team, is telephone prospecting.
Okay. So making some cold calls?
Well, they're going to be warm with some direct mail, but yeah, that's a new habit. That's something we haven't done before.
All right. Good luck with that. What's a bad habit you want to break?
Eating too much junk food.
Eating too much junk food. Got it. Pick 3 words to describe who you are now.
Confident, at peace. That's 2 words. And thoughtful.
And pick 3 words to describe who you were first year in your business.
Stressed, tired, and all over the place.
Stressed, tired, and all over the place. Startup Nation, is that you? If it is, we have an answer for you. And Steve, last question. If you could come back to life after you died, look your family, your friends in the eye, and give them only one piece of advice, what would you say to them?
Have faith.
Have faith, Startup Nation. And whatever it is you're up to in this world, have faith. You're the right person to make it happen. Any final wisdom, Steve? What's the one thing you want my listener to know about making their first 100K in the next 12 months?
It's not as hard as you think it is.
It's not as hard as you think it is, Startup Nation. And Steve, where can Startup Nation find you or get in contact with you if they want to engage you?
Yeah, Joseph, we've actually set up a special page just for your listeners. And if they go to unstoppableceo.net/100K, that's the number 100 with K at the end, And they can go there and they can actually get a free copy of my latest book, The Exponential Network Strategy, which talks about how we use podcasts to build relationships and drive referrals, and then get a free copy of it there.
Well, thank you very much for that offer to my listeners. Startup Nation, go get your copy of the free book. Start building that business. And Steve, I really enjoyed this conversation. And I know there's more conversations to be had. So it's not often that live on the show, I'll say to a guest like yourself, I'd love to have you back on the show.
Well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we could chat more about some stuff. All right, Startup Nation, remember, real success is about more than just money, right? And there's a side to you, and I talk about it often on the show, right? It's not just about the money. It's about family. It's about your spiritual side, right? You're more than just a money-making machine, right? So if you're struggling right now, in different areas of your life, as you're growing and climbing to the top of the success ladder, but you're leaving other areas of your life behind, and you're neglecting them. Maybe it's family, maybe it's kids, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your God. Those are the areas that I would love to, sit down and chat with you on a spiritual clarity call. We'll chat for about 30 minutes and just help you get clarity on what is it that you want in your life right now in those areas, the areas of your life that matter most. And we'll chat it and see if we want to work together. So if that's of interest to you, go to josephwarren.net and go ahead and book a call in my personal calendar. Steve, it was a pleasure to have you on this show, my friend. I wish you peace, love, and joy in your life, my friend.
Thanks, Joseph. It's been fun.
All right, cheers. God bless. Startup Nation, you cannot show up authentically in your business without building faith in your business. If you want to have that conversation on the faith side of things, go check out my other podcast called Broken Catholic. On that show, I interview all different guests about why the world isn't working right now. Plus, I tackle unspeakable topics that you may secretly struggle with, but won't admit. We got to get your faith right to get your business right. Go to brokencatholic.com. I'm Joseph Warren, and you were made for greatness. So stop being a wuss and start being a winner. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you right back here next week.